It's felt like weeks coming, a bit like the run-up to Christmas in the West, with all the supermarkets clearing their shelves to make way for mooncakes as the Chinese prepare for their Mid-Autumn Festival. You can't go anywhere without someone trying to sell you a box of these mooncakes at vastly inflated prices. The Zhongqiu Festival is one of the four most important Chinese festivals, and mooncakes are regarded as an indispensable delicacy on this occasion, being given between friends and family while celebrating the festival. Typically, mooncakes are round or rectangular pastries, measuring about 10 centimeters in diameter and 4 to 5 centimeters thick. A filling, usually made from lotus seed paste, is surrounded by a relatively thin crust and often contains yolks from salted duck eggs to symbolize the full moon. They're usually eaten in small wedges accompanied by Chinese tea. If you're on a diet, mooncakes are definitely not for you, as each one contains the equivalent of around 1,000 kilocalories. Mooncake production is labor-intensive, and few people make them at home. Their price usually ranges from 500 kwai to 3,500 kwai, around 5 to 35 pounds, for a box of 4, although cheaper and more expensive ones can also be found. One day, over a week before the festival begins, I'm invited up to the HR office where I work to collect a box of my very own mooncakes. Everyone in the company is being given a tin box with 12 inside, and these ones have been made in France, that international hotbed of mooncake manufacture. What? You didn't know that the French are famous for their mooncakes? Haven't you seen the advertisements on the inside of lifts, on street posters, on TV? France mooncake, it reads, exploring great taste. And to emphasize the point, there's a small replica of the Eiffel Tower. Why a French delicacy should be advertised in Chinese and English instead of in Chinese and French, I'm not sure, but hey, no worries. Gratefully clutching my special present, I stroll back to my office, where one of my colleagues tells me that the festival is intricately linked to the legend of Chang'e, the mythical moon goddess of immortality. Around 4,000 years ago, during the reign of the legendary Emperor Yao, the Earth had 10 suns circling it, each taking its turn to illuminate the Earth. But one day there was obviously some supreme cock-up, resulting in all 10 suns appearing together, scorching the Earth with their heat. The Earth was saved by a strong and tyrannical archer named Hou Yi, who succeeded in shooting down 9 of the suns. One day, the oh-so-naughty Hou Yi stole the elixir of life from a goddess. But his beautiful wife, Chang'e, decided to drink it herself in order to save the people from her husband's tyrannical rule. Or maybe she just didn't like those stretch marks and sagging boobs starting to appear on her body. Who knows how a woman's mind really works? Well, after drinking it, she found herself floating all the way to the moon. The dastardly Hou Yi decided that he loved his beautiful wife so much that he refused to shoot down the moon. Phew, what a relief. Maybe he wasn't such a rotten cat after all. Chang'e now lives with a jade rabbit who pounds medicine for the gods. Apparently, you can see this rabbit if you look at the dark areas to the top of the full moon. Its ears point to the upper right, while at the left are 2 large circular areas representing its head and body. Anyway, Hou Yi built himself a palace in the sun, representing Yang, the male principle, in contrast to Chang'e's home on the moon, which represents Yin, the female principle. Once a year, on the night of the Mid-Autumn Festival, Hou Yi visits his wife. And that's the reason why the moon is so full and bright on that night. Well, call me a sceptic if you like, but I have to admit to having a few nagging doubts about this story. I mean, where will the rabbit get his ration of carrots and lettuce? Not to mention the fact that NASA astronauts have never, to my knowledge, mentioned seeing a rabbit lolloping around the surface of the moon. What is in less doubt, however, is the fact that mooncakes were used as a medium by the Ming revolutionaries to secretly distribute letters to overthrow the Mongolian rulers of China in the Yuan dynasty. A guy named Zhu Yuanzhang and his advisor, Liu Baoen, circulated a rumor that a deadly plague was spreading, and the only way to prevent it was to eat special mooncakes. A likely story. You'll probably find his brother was actually a baker who wanted to improve his business. The wily Jew realized that the Mongolian upper class didn't eat mooncakes. This prompted the quick distribution of mooncakes, which were used to hide a secret message coordinating the Han Chinese revolt on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month. Today, mooncakes are causing just as much controversy. Just a few weeks ago, it was reported that the Beijing authorities had decided to impose a tax on mooncakes, as they can be considered a non-cash benefit and therefore are subject to income tax. Unsurprisingly, Global Times reported, this has sparked an outcry in the Chinese capital. A poll conducted by the microblogging service Weibo found that 96% of users opposed the tax, and many Chinese said they would prefer not to receive mooncakes at all. What a surprise. Personally, I haven't seen any rioting in the streets over the proposed mooncake tax, but you can imagine my consternation when 2 days before the festival holiday began, I was called upstairs once again by HR to collect yet another box of mooncakes. Why am I receiving a second box? I asked wistfully, thinking all the while about being taxed for benefits in kind. Apparently, they were given by some outside company hoping to curry favour with the powers that be where I work. But no one appears to know who the donor company was, and certainly no one seems to care. Back home, I unwrapped the box to find 6 mooncakes beautifully wrapped inside. There's even a little box containing plastic forks, which I would have thought spoils the overall effect somewhat. Eventually, the holiday begins, and to award myself a special treat, I decide to try one of the French mooncakes with my mid-morning cup of the hot and steaming. Although they actually look quite light and delicate, the moment you pick one up, you realize that they could each be used as a doorstop, or at the very least as a paperweight, should someone be fool enough to leave a window open with a desk full of paperwork. I bite into my special treat, and wonder why anyone would make a fuss about these things. Inside is a salty round duck egg yolk, around which is wrapped some lotus paste and a plain dough pastry enclosing it all. Not what I would describe in any way as a must-eat treat. I gingerly try another bite, reminding myself that I shouldn't be so rash as to make instant judgments. But my first opinion is redoubled with the second bite, and finding myself fast losing the will to live, I leave the remaining half mooncake on the plate and try to wash the taste away with my hot cuppa. Another mid-autumn festival delicacy is the hairy crab, otherwise known as the Chinese mitten crab. They say that a dish of steamed hairy crabs is always the highlight of the family reunion dinner. However, what is popularly regarded as the ultimate in hairy crabs, those from Yangcheng Lake in East China's Jiangsu province, have in the main been absent from the dinner tables this year, since the Yangcheng Lake Crab Association in Suzhou announced that this year's crab fishing season would not start until September the 17th, 5 days after the Mid-Autumn Festival. Apparently, they won't reach full maturity until then, and although some crab fishers may catch a small number of hairy crabs before then to cash in on the holiday, these crabs will not be entitled to be called Yangcheng Lake crabs. Hairy crabs are usually sold in a pair, 1 male and 1 female. A 125-gram female and a 175-gram male were priced at 80 yuan in 2010. One of the most expensive pairs, a 175-gram female and a 250-gram male, were priced at 200 yuan. The price reached a peak of more than 250 yuan last December. During the holidays, it's customary for each family member to get a pair of hairy crabs. As I'm working over the holiday period, I never get to taste a crab, hairy or otherwise. Steamed fish with leek rice and oyster sauce is my call that night. But on the way back from work, I look up at the sky to see if I can see the jade rabbit in the moon. Unfortunately, the cloud cover is too strong, and I never do get to see the rabbit. Over on TV, CCTV 15 have been playing moon-related music for much of the day, with Au clair de lune, Moonlight Sonata, and Blue Moon, sung by Pavarotti, played on more than one occasion. Meanwhile, on CCTV 3, The presenters of the various light entertainment shows all take part in a sing-a-thon featuring them warbling in front of various moon backdrops, all of which, bar two, feature crescent moons rather than the full moon celebrated at the festival. Reminiscences come to mind of the UK's Red Nose Day, when BBC presenters do wild and stupid things in order to raise money for so-called good causes. I mentally make a note that these guys should not for one moment think about giving up their day jobs. Back at the office, two of my fellow workers come up to see me, their eyes flashing happiness and bonhomie. "Have a mooncake," they cajole. "It's chocolate, so yummy, you'll like. There on a plate lies half a mooncake, chocolate in colour, including the egg moon inside. I grin a thank you, hoping they will leave the cake on the plate on my desk, and then go off and offer their largesse to someone else, while I casually slip the proffered offering into the bin below my desk. But for once the gods are not smiling on me. They hover and wait for their fallen expert to bite into the morsel so as not to miss the cherished moment, and I have no alternative but to comply and sport one of my well-rehearsed devastating smiles. "Thank you so much," I whimper, hoping desperately they won't take this as an open invitation to offer me a second piece. But luck is once again back on side, and off they go to be generous to someone else. So now I'm in a quandary. Who don't I like enough to give my 11.5 uneaten mooncakes to as a present? Perhaps the dog belonging to the neighbours next door? Or maybe I should auction them off on eBay. After all, they say you can sell anything on eBay. Could this be the ultimate challenge?